Franz Reichelt. Paris in the early 20th century was obsessed with invention. Back then, without TikTok to flex on, Franz Reichelt, an Austrian tailor living in France, decided he needed to stand out. And instead of just sewing regular clothes, he thought, why not design a coat that doubles as a parachute? The idea sounded fine in his head, like a one-man startup. Reichelt stitched together this massive puffy coat, looking half like a raincoat and half like a camping tent. He was so confident that he registered it to test it at the Eiffel Tower itself. At first, Paris officials assumed he'd use a mannequin. But on February 4, 1912, Reichelt showed up dragging his bulky invention and announced, "I will fly myself." That morning was freezing. Crowds gathered, spectators, journalists, even police. Everyone assumed he'd test from a model, or at least from a low platform. But no, our tailor climbed straight to the first level of the Eiffel Tower, about 57 meters up. Reports say his face looked pale, but he still smiled as if to say, "This will be fine." Then, without a countdown, he jumped. For a brief second, the coat parachute spread open. Except it didn't. Instead of wings, it turned into a flapping tablecloth. His body plummeted straight down, no Hollywood-style slow motion. The result? In less than 5 seconds, he smashed into the ground, right in front of the crowd and the cameras. He was instantly crushed. The impact was so strong it left a small hole in the frozen ground. Police and doctors rushed over, but it was already over. In a way, he did succeed in becoming famous, just not in the way he imagined. In aviation history, Reichelt is still called the Flying Man of the Eiffel Tower. Except it was a one-way flight, no return ticket. Karl Wallenda. If Franz Reichelt died because of stupid curiosity, then Karl Wallenda died because of too much routine. He was the leader of the famous Flying Wallenda's circus troupe, a man who spent his life walking tightropes and making crowds gasp. People say Binas, old age is for resting. But at 73, Karl was still up on the wire because, in his words, as long as the legs don't shake too much, the show goes on. On March 22, 1978, in San Juan, Puerto Rico, a steel cable was stretched between two hotels, about 37 meters high. No safety net, no harness, nothing, pure Wallenda style. Thousands gathered below, craning their necks to watch a silver-haired old man step onto a line thinner than their trust in gravity. At first, everything went smoothly. Karl walked slowly, holding his long balancing pole twice the length of his body. The crowd clapped and cheered, voices echoing through the streets. But fate enjoys messing with people. The ocean wind picked up, tugging violently at Karl's shirt. He wobbled, the pole shook, and within seconds, 50 years of practiced balance unraveled. Karl tried to recover, bent low, but his leather shoes slipped slightly on the cable. His body tilted outward, and then bam, he fell. 37 meters isn't a skyscraper, but it's more than enough to crush a 73-year-old man. Witnesses said the sound when he hit the pavement was so sharp and chilling that the crowd, once cheering, went silent instantly. The bitter irony, Wallenda had survived countless stunts before, crossing Niagara Falls, walking between skyscrapers, all of them triumphant. Yet in the end, what killed him was a side wind and legs that had aged past their prime. After his death, many said, Karl died the way he wanted, on the wire, in front of the audience. It sounds romantic, but it's also brutal, because he didn't even get to finish the act. That fall turned the show into a live funeral. The Wallenda legacy continues. His children and grandchildren still perform daredevil stunts. Sarah Gouillard-Guillot, Las Vegas, the city of lights where everything shines brighter and faker than an Instagram filter. Among its most dazzling shows, Cirque du Soleil stood above the rest, making audiences believe humans could defy gravity. The acrobatics, the mid-air spins, the breathtaking stunts, it all looked untouchable. But on June 29, 2013, that illusion shattered when Sarah Gouillard-Guillot fell to her death right in front of thousands of eyes. Sarah, 31 years old, was a seasoned performer who had spent years with Cirque du Soleil. In the show Ka at the MGM Grand, she was part of a spectacular sequence. Suspended by a wire, she moved gracefully nearly 30 meters above the stage. From below, the audience saw a magical universe. Warriors flying in midair, flashing lights, music pounding like a heartbeat. And then disaster struck. The safety wire, the only thing keeping Sarah from falling, suddenly slipped loose. At first, the crowd thought it was part of the script. Cirque du Soleil was known for mind-bending illusions, so people assumed she would fly in some clever way and land safely. But seconds later, the screams began as Sarah's body plunged into the stage pit, the impact echoing through the theater like a gunshot. The audience froze. Some still thought it was an act until the music stopped abruptly, the lights blazed up, and other performers rushed in panic. Only then did everyone realize this was no illusion. Sarah was rushed to the hospital, but within minutes, doctors declared her dead. Her death sent shockwaves worldwide. It was the first time in Cirque du Soleil's history that a performer had died during a live show. A night that was supposed to be filled with wonder turned into a theater of tragedy. People who bought tickets for escape and magic left carrying a memory that would haunt them forever. The cruel irony? Cirque du Soleil had long been praised for its safety and precision. But one technical failure was enough to end a young woman's life. That night in Las Vegas, the city reminded the world that no matter how bright the lights shine, gravity is still the final villain. Owen Hart. On May 23, 1999, Kemper Arena in Kansas City was packed with fans. WWE was hosting Over the Edge, a grand wrestling event filled with scripted drama and over-the-top stunts. One segment was meant to steal the show. Wrestler Owen Hart, in his superhero-like persona, the Blue Blazer, would descend from the rafters into the ring on a harness, dropping in like a comic book hero come to life. On paper, it sounded epic. In reality, it became a tragedy. Owen Hart, just 34 years old, was one of the most beloved wrestlers of his time. Dressed in a tight blue costume and mask, he prepared to fly down before thousands in the arena. The plan, he'd be lowered safely by a cable system, land gracefully, and wow the crowd. But the entire stunt hinged on a small, crucial piece: the safety clip. As he was being readied to descend, the release mechanism suddenly triggered too early. Owen had no chance to correct his position. His body plummeted from about 24 meters straight toward the ring. The fall wasn't just free. He slammed against the wrestling ropes before hitting the mat, magnifying the impact horrifically. At first, the audience thought it was scripted. WWE was known for its outrageous theatrics. So many assumed it was just another stunt. But when fellow wrestlers and medical staff rushed frantically to the ring, the illusion collapsed. Millions watching on live television also saw the fatal fall unfold in real time. What was supposed to be a night of entertainment had turned into a nightmare broadcast live to the world. Owen Hart's death sent shockwaves far beyond wrestling. In an arena where almost everything is scripted, his final fall was chillingly, brutally real. And that's top 4 horrifying deaths caused by heights. Which of these 4 deaths made you shiver the most?
Carl makes his way across. Unfortunately, this was to be Carl Walenda's final stunt.
Oh, yeah! Where's that tower at? Here it comes! Oh, my God! What's going on?
Owen Hart was set to make an entry.
Leave a comment below. If there's a lesson here, it's simple. No stunt, no thrill, no spotlight is stronger than the pull of the earth. See you next time.